Hello everyone, in this video we'll talk about a version control system called Git. We will discuss its usage and purpose and how to install and work with it. Also we will learn the basic commands that you will need to successfully work with the Git and collaborate with others. So here is the agenda of our video. Firstly we will talk about what is version control system, then how Git works, installing Git, first time Git setup, creating a new repository, how to get help, Git status command, how to commit, how to work with branches, and how to work with the remotes, and how to ignore files. So this is what we will cover in this video. So let's begin. Let's start with discussion what is Git. So as I mentioned before, Git is a distributed version control system. And what is version control system? It's the system that records changes to a file or a set of files over time so that you can recall specific version later. Let me just show you a demonstration. So for example, let's check Google Docs that I have here. And I see that there is some document, but I would like to see who did the changes and when. So I can just open the version control system, and then I see, let me show you, and then I see like when was the change, who did the change, and what exactly they changed. I can check here. So you see that this part was deleted. So it's the same for the version control systems in your code. You will have all the information about what changes has been made, who made the changes when, and etc. So then next thing we will discuss in how the Git works. So there is few things that I would like to mention. So Git working decentralized, which means that it does not depend on central server. So data will be saved locally on your folder, on your machine. And this folder will be called a repository. This is important to understand. It means that all of the history of the project you have locally. So to browse the history, like you don't need to go to the server. So it simply reads from your local database, which means that you can see project history almost instantly. Also, this means that you can work on your project even if you are offline. Just save the changes locally and upload them to a remote branch as soon as you have a connection again. Next thing is worth to mention that everything in Git is checksummed, which means that it's impossible to change the content of any file or directory without Git knowing about it. So let's then continue with installing. But before we do that, I just want to mention that in this video we will learn how to work with Git using command line. There is also many ways, many different graphical interfaces that you could use. But if you would know how to work with through command line, you would definitely figure out how to work with the graphical interface. So that is why we learn commands here. So the next thing that we need to do is to install Git. So how to do that? So first of all, we need to search for the Git website. Then go to the downloads. Download the Git for your system, whether it's macOS, Windows, or Linux, and install it. For macOS users, usually it's pre-installed already, so you could just open the terminal that we have here and just run Git version and see whether it's installed and what version is installed. So if you see, for me, it's installed version 2.32. After that's all that you need to do. Also, if you're using Linux, you can use some commands to install Git, like that. I will not do the command, but we'll just show you. Git all. I will also leave all of the commands below in the description in the file, so you can just download it and check it. That's all for the installation. You just need to download it, install it, and just check whether it's installed using Git version. After you will install Git, you need to do a first time Git setup. So what this thing you should do only once on any given computer. You can change them anytime if needed. So it's needed because every commit uses this information and it's immutably baked into the commits you start creating. So if you remember, I showed you the version control in Google Docs. There was mentioned who did the changes and when and etc. So for the part who did the changes, you need to config this global configuration. So how to do that? Just to use command git config global and then user name and set your username. For me, like it would be explain it. And after that, you need to do the same command, but just for email. And instead of name, just write the email here. For example, like that. So you can check whether the configuration is set properly, but using command git config and then list. So you see, for me, there is this configuration is that there is my name and this is my email. You could easily change it or fix it. Just run the command again and write a different name if you want to, or etc. So this is all what we need to do for the first time initial setup. Then next thing that we need to do is to creating a new repository. For that, it's just one easy command. But before I can show you, I need to create the project on my machine. So for example, we will name it as project 1. So we created this directory, then we need to go to this directory. So I am here already, and to create the Git repository, we need to use the command called git init. So as you can see, it's mentioned here that I created the repository. So Git saves files locally in your folder. So that is why I needed to create the project folder. So what this command git init made? It gives Git an access to this folder and creates a hidden catalog called .git, where the repository history and configuration will be saved. Also, it created the first branch for you. By default, it's the master branch. You can see it's described here. You can also always change your defaults if you want. You could just use this command. It's described here in Git, so you could just do that. So if you don't like master, you can rename default branch for anything else that you want, and from after you will change it, it will create for you not the master branch, for example, but main. If you will change it. For me, master is fine, so I will not do any changes. So this is how to create the repository, straightforward. Also, there is another way to create a Git repository, is to clone it from some remote repository, but I will show it later when we will talk about the remotes. So before we will continue with the learning Git, important things to know is to how to get help. In Git, there is 3 useful commands. They work offline, so you can get help for how to use any of the Git commands, but just writing Git help and the name of the command. So for example, I would like to check how to use config command. So you can see here everything is described. It's what it's done, how to use it, description, options, and etc. So you could just read it and just do it. Also, there is the same command that do the same. It's like git command name and then help, like that. It will do the same for you. So it's how to get help. Just remember one of them, and as I told, they are working offline. So in case if you don't know how to use any of the commands, you can always go and check it like that. So all of the documentation is right here. So let's continue our work. So the next command that we will learn, it's the one that you would use often. It's git status. So let's run it. What this command is showing us, it's showing us on which states what files are at the moment, if there is anything to commit, and also it's showing us on what branch we are. So for now there is nothing to commit, nothing's changed because we didn't do any changes to the projects. Before we start adding the changes, I would like you to remember that Git that files in Git can be in two states: tracked and untracked. Tracked is the files that Git knows about, and untracked is everything else. I will show it later. And also the information in the files can reside in three states: modified, staged, and committed. Modified is when you just change something, then staged when you added these changes for your staging environment, and committed is when it's saved locally on your database. So let's just remember that, and I will explain it one by one later. So first let's add some file. So we'll clear it and we will add some file to our project. So let's create the file firstly. So we will just name it file py. It will be Python file, for example, and I will just press enter, and then I will run a git status. What we see that there is an untracked file called our file pile. Also, this command is showing us what to do to add to track our files. So for that we need to use this command. So let's just do that: git add and the name of the file, and then run git status again. So you see that it's mentioned that it's not anymore in untracked files because we just did tracked it, we staged it, and what we see that there is changes that ready to be committed. So let's commit the changes, and for that we need to use the command git commit -m. It's to write the commit message. So when you will write the commit message, try to describe what you have done with this commit. So for me, I added file py and press enter. So you see the result that the commit is added, and like one file changed. It's the file that we added, and also here is showing how many lines were added and how many lines were removed. For me it's 0 because I didn't do any changes in this file py itself. So this is how to commit. But if, for example, you made a mistake with a commit message, you can always change it by using a command git. Let's firstly just check the log. It's the commit history, and see that we have this commit. So you see that this is my commit. This is my commit message. Here is written who did the commit. Remember we set this in the global configs and also when I did this commit. So I wrote the message added file pile, but maybe I wanted to do something else, like to write something else. So to change the message, I could use the command git commit amend -m, and then we will change the message to the proper one, added empty file py. Like that, and let's just check the we see it's committed. Let's just check the history again using git log, and you see that we have just one, this first commit, just one, and the message is changed. So in case if you made a mistake in the message and you would like to change it, you can always use this git commit amend command. Important to amend only commits that are still in local and have not been pushed to the some remote server, because then it would be hard for your collaborators to work with this if you will change it. So also with this amend, you could, for example, if we added this empty file, but we wanted to add something else to the file and have it as a one commit, we can always change it as well. So let me firstly open the file py. I will use the PyCharm, just the community edition, so just a simple version, and I will open our project there. So let's open, and we have our project 1, and we will just open it. It's just for the demonstration purposes. I'm using PyCharm just because I'm working mostly with Python. So let's just change something in the file py. So I will just write the basic command, for example, calculate a and b and c equals a plus b, and return C. So just a simple function, and then we would want to add this to our Git. So let's check the Git status again, and we see that there is mentioned that there is the changes that is modified in this file py. And also there is mentioned there is one untracked file.id. I will talk about that a bit later. We will ignore this file later. So firstly, what we need to do is to add these changes. So git add file py, we stage them, and now we need to commit them to save them to our database. So but we wanted to be either committed with this first commit. So we will just add git commit amend and then -m added file py with calculate function. And you see that we committed the changes. We see that one file has been changed. We added 3 lines and etc. So let's run the git log again to see that we still have just this one commit as long as we used amend. So we rewrite our commit. So for now, our first commit is everything that we did. So we added file py and added the function. So it would be as the one commit. So let's return. Let me just clear it. Let's return to the git status and to the idea file that I mentioned. So you see that there is mentioned that it's untracked file, git status .idea, and why it is here? Just because I opened the project with the Python in the PyCharm, and it's added for me a Python directory .idea, and but it's not needed for me for Git to track it. Often you will have files that you will not need to track and even know about and show you even in the Git status, and you want them to ignore. Usually it's the generated automated files such as this one, some logs, some virtual environments, and etc. So to do that, you could create the git ignore file and add this .idea to this git ignore file. So let's do it. So let's create .git ignore. Then we will see that it's here, and let's ignore our .idea. So we will just do it like that. We created it like that, .idea folder. And then we will add and commit the git idea to our git ignore to our status. So we will git add .git ignore, and then we will run a git status again, and you will see that there is no more information about this untracked file. It just mentioned that the changes has to be committed is this git ignore file. It's a really good practice to use this git ignore file, not to track the files that you don't want to, and like not to accidentally push them to your remote server. In GitHub, you could find the examples of good git ignore files for different libraries and different languages and etc. I will leave a link below. Let me just commit that we added git ignore file. Added git ignore file. And we see that it's committed. So let's check log. We see that there is 2 commits now. First one that we added and the new one, git ignore file. So let me show you how this git ignore file looks on GitHub. And you can always find it here. Just Google GitHub git ignore, and you see there is different files for git ignore for different languages, different frameworks, and etc. So for example, let's check for Python. It's Python. And let's check the git ignore. So you can just download this and use for your Python project, or you can generate the git ignore file manually as we just did and use just what you need for your specific needs. But also you can use this as well. I will leave a link below as I mentioned. So the next thing that we will learn is how to remove files from Git. Often, for example, if you accidentally added file that you don't need, you can just remove it, and for that you need to use the command git rm and the file name. So for us it's file py because we have only this file. And it's mentioned that it's removed. If we will check git status, we will see that changes needed to be committed, that we deleted this file. If we will commit these changes, we will delete the file from your git and also from your local setup as well. So git commit -m deleted file py, and then let's check it in PyCharm. We will see that file is not here anymore, so we removed it. But in case if you have some changes in your file but still want to delete it with the modifications, let me do an example. So I will create the file again. I will add the file to the git, and then I will commit the change that I added this file. Added empty file py, and then let's return here. The file is here. We will do some modifications. So I will just do basic print, for example, like just hello. And then I wanted to delete the file. So if I will use this command now, we will see an error. And this is because we have the modifications there. So it's the security feature. So if it prevents you to delete all your modifications locally. So if you really want to delete it, if you're sure that you want to do that with the modifications, they will not be saved. You cannot return them because they have never been committed. For that, you could use the next command. It's git rm -f, it's a force, and then file py, and the file will be deleted. Let's check git status. You see that the file is deleted and we need to commit the changes. So git commit -m deleted file py, and it's not here again. So we deleted file py with all our local changes, with all our local modifications. But sometimes you want to delete the file from Git but still have it on your local environment, as for example this git ignore file. So if you accidentally committed the git ignore file, so you want to delete it from the Git but you want to leave it in your local setup, So let's just do that again. I will again create the file. Then I will add this file to Git, and then I will commit the changes that I added file. It's here. And now I want to remove it but leave it locally. So what can I do? I can use the next command, git rem cached and the file name. Cached and the file name, which is file py. So let's check the status again. You see that the file is untracked file, and we will commit our changes that we deleted the file, because we still deleted it from the Git. But we still have it locally. So you see it's here, it did not disappear. It's not on the Git, but it's on our local setup. So let's go to the next things that we would learn is how to commit without adding the changes. So we will learn the command that you could use, which will stage and commit our changes at the same time. So let's add our file. Just for an example, we will add and delete it many times, then commit these changes. Added file py. And then just let's add some print here again, just something to explain. So we have this, and then let me check git status. And you see that we have the modification in file, but it's not staged yet, so it's not ready to be committed. We will not do that. We will use git commit -a -m. We will write the commit message, which will be that we added print to file py. And you see that we did the changes. If we will check the git status, we will see that there is nothing to commit, as we committed everything. So this -a, it gives us a possibility to add and commit at the same time. So to stage and save at the same time. It's really convenient command that you could use, but just be careful with it, just to make sure that all of your local modifications that you have done are needed to be in this commit. If it's yes, then you could easily use it. But if you want to check what you staged and then committed, you could do it in 2 steps as we did before. So then let's do the next things. It's for example, you stage some changes, but then you realize that you actually don't need them, so you want them to be unstaged. So I will just add some again our calculate, just to quickly show, like a plus b c equals, and then we will return c. So just a basic thing, and let's just stage it. So we will use git add file py. So we stage the changes. We will check git status, and we will see that there is changes that has to be committed, but actually we don't need them to commit, and we don't need them to be staged. So what we can do, we can use the next command, git reset head and file py. So we, as you can see at the result, we unstage changes after reset. If we will check git status, we will see that the changes is not staged anymore, they modified. But if you want these changes not to be even modified, so you did a lot of things, modified and etc., and you want to return to the previous version, how it was, you can use the command git restore and the file name. So for now, these changes will be not modified. As you can see, there is nothing to commit. Working tree is clean, but it also will delete these changes from your local setup. So you see it's not here anymore. So just use it when you're sure that you really don't want these changes. Also the same, instead of restore, you can also use git checkout and the file name. It's the same. It's doing the same. To be able to collaborate on any Git project, you need to know how to work with and manage remote repositories. So let's do that, let's learn it. We will start with cloning the remote repository as we discussed before, using git clone. You can clone the repository from any remote server. For my example, I will use GitHub. So I have here this repository, and to clone it, what I need to do, firstly I need to copy the link to the repository and then use the command git clone and the link to our repository. So let's do that. So what this command made for us, it's created a directory that is named our project, which is here. Here is the name. Also initialize a .git directory inside it, pull down all of the data for the repository and checks out the working copy to the latest version. So let's just go and find whether we have this folder. So you see it's here. So let's go inside it and let's run git status. And you see that we have the Git repository. We are currently on the main branch, and we have nothing to commit, and working tree is clean just because we didn't do any changes. So the next command that you will learn is how to pull latest changes. So for example, imagine the situation, you're working with a team, someone did something, they pushed it to the main branch, and you want to have the latest changes before you start to work on your task. So for that, you just need to go to the branch that you want to pull. For us, it's main. We are currently here, as you can see, and use the command git pull. So we are already up to date, just because there was no changes done, because we just clone the repository, so nothing changed yet. But if there would be some changes, this command will fetch the data from the remote and automatically will try to merge it into the code that we are currently working on. A good practice is to pull the changes before you start to work on some new tasks, so you have the latest code before you start. And also before pushing the changes to remote, also a good practice to pull it, check, try to merge, and then push it. So how to push? For that, you could use just a command git push. It's simple. For example, you you made your task, you already merge these changes, and you're ready to push your branch, so for others to see and for others to be able to work with it, you need to use the command git push origin and the name of the branch. For us, it's main, because we are currently on the main branch. What is origin? Origin is the default name for the remote branch. So you're pushing from your local main to the remote main. But let's just do some changes and do the work, not just showing the command, but actually do it. So let's, for example, first of all, let's open our project. We will open the project as we have it, and it would be this one, as this is our project. We will trust the project. We will open it on the pie chart, and you see that we have a file here. Just a moment, it will download everything. If we will open, we have everything that we have on the remote. You can just check it, that it just this part that is on the remote. So for example, I will do some changes. I will just add one more. For example, calculate as we did before, and we will A and B, and we will C equals A plus B, and return plus B, sorry, and then we will return C. So we added the new command. We are ready to share it with other and push our changes. So we're working currently on the main branch. I will explain the branching a bit later. So let's just use our calculate as well. So we will call it here. And then what we need to do. So first of all, we need to check the Git status and see what we have. You see that we have this modified, and we again have this .idea. For now, we will add this git ignore file that we added. So touch dot git ignore, and we will just add this .idea here as we did before in the example. So let's just run the git status again, and we see that we have two untracked files and we have things modified. So let's just add everything. So we will add main py, our modification. We will add git ignore, and then we will run the git status. So you see that we have the changes that this has to be committed, no more .idea. Let's just commit these changes. So git commit -m, and we will describe what we added. So we added git ignore file, and we added calculate function, and that's right. So we're ready to commit. So we committed, we added our changes. If we will run git status, we will see that there is nothing to commit, but we see that our branch is ahead of the origin main, which is the remote main, by one commit. So to avoid this, we need to use a git push command. So let's just do it. So let's just use this command. So let's use git push. And you see that we pushed our changes to the remote. So if we will check our remote and we will reload it, you see that our function is here already. So you see it's easy. This command will work only if you clone from the server to which you have the write access, and if nobody else has pushed something in the meantime. If someone pushed before, as I explained, you have to pull the changes first and merge them. But before we will talk about merging, let's talk about branches and the git branches. So let's just clear it. So branching means that you diverge from the main line of the development and continue to do work without messing with that main line. It would be a usual typical situation. So how you will work, you will collaborate with others, you will get your feature to develop, you will create the new branch for this feature, and you will work on that branch. Then after you finish, you will merge it with master, and then you will push the changes, or you will push your changes in your branch and merge it with master on some remote servers. So before you will do the merge, other developers will have a possibility to review your code. So let's create a new branch. So as I told, it's a very good practice to create a new branch every time you work on some new feature. So for creating the branch, we need to use the command git branch and the branch name. So let's, for example, let's create the branch like new feature. Usually you name it as the ticket number or as the feature names and etc. So for me it would be just a new feature. So to do that you need to use this command. Let's try. Let's check the git status and see where we are. So you see we are still on the main branch, as we didn't check out to this new created new feature branch just yet. So this command is just created a new branch for us, which is the copy of this main branch, as we created branch from it. So we were on the main branch, we used git branch new feature, we copied this main branch to our new branch. To switch to the new branch, we need to use the command git checkout and the name of the branch. So for us it's new feature. You see that it's mentioned that we switch to the branch new feature. Let's just check it again with the git status just to be sure. So you see that we are on the branch new feature, not on the main anymore, but on the branch new feature. So how does Git know on which branch we are currently on? It keeps the special pointer head, and you can easily check this by running a simple git log command with the decorate option. So let's do that. Git log and decorate. You see here is this pointer head, and it's point that we are currently on the new feature branch. There is also an easier way to create the new branch. So let's return to our main. So to do that we need to use git checkout main. So we switch to our branch name, and instead of doing two commands, git checkout, git branch and git checkout, we could use one, which is git checkout minus b, and for example our new branch would be test. So what this command will do, it will create this test branch for us, and it will also check out us for this branch. So if we will run git status, we will see that we are already on the branch test. So we don't need to do two commands, we can use just this one. Also there is the way, instead of checkout, you could use the command git switch. So git switch and for example main. So you see that we switch to the main to do switch git switch minus c and test2. So we it's doing the same as this command git checkout minus b. So it creates for us the new branch and checkout us. So you see that we are on the test2 already. So it's created and checkout. So let's continue with our new feature branch. So let's just switch to this new feature branch, new feature. So we are currently here, and let's just do some changes in our project in this branch, and then we will try to merge these changes with our master. So to do the changes, I will do it here. So you see PyCharm is also showing that I'm currently on the new feature branch. So I will just create the new file. Yeah, I will name it new feature. And I will just add simple print hello world, and that's also, it will be our feature, just something really basic. Of course it will not work on such tasks, but it's just for example. So let's just return to our git and run git status. So you see that we have the changes that is not staged for the commit, but we learned that we don't need to do the changes. We can use git commit minus a, and it will stage and commit our changes at the same time. So we added new feature. I forgot minus m, sorry. Minus m. and you see that we committed and staged our changes. So you see that we are in branch new feature and there is nothing to commit. Working tree is clean. The next step that you need to do is to merge your changes with the main branch and then push it to the remote server so everybody will see it. So how to merge it and what does it mean? But before, it's important to know that when you switch branches in Git, files in your working directory will be reverted to look like they did the last time you committed on that branch. So if Git cannot do it cleanly, it will not let you to switch at all. So for example, let's just check git log and see what. So you see that we have our added new feature. It's on our branch, but let's switch to the main. And let's run git log again, and you see that there is no, our new feature is not here yet. So we need to merge it. So we need to add it to our main branch. For that, we need to go to the branch we want the changes to be merged in. So it's a main. We are currently here. If you will see, we head is pointing to main. We are here. Then we need to use git merge and the branch you want to merge to this main. So for us it's a new feature, and you see that our changes is merged, and we will run git log and we will see that our add new feature is already in main. So it means that we merged our changes. After that, we can push these changes using git push command, as we already learned. So just using git push. So if we will check on our remote, we will see that new feature is already here. So it's how you will work. But not all of the time it goes so smoothly. Sometimes you need to resolve the conflicts. How the conflicts appear. So for example, you and your partner working on some feature, and then you working on some feature, and he did some changes, merge them, and you did some changes, and you try to merge them, but you see that your changes is override his changes. So you need to resolve this conflict. You need to decide what will go to this commit. We will modulate the situation right now, but before we will do that, it's very good practice when you merge your changes to delete your branch that was merged. So for me, I need to delete our new feature branch. So for that, I can do the next command, git branch -d, and then new feature. Deleted branch new feature. So you see that we don't have this branch anymore. We can check what branches we have using the command git branch all. So you see that we have our main, we have test, we have test2, we have remote branch, which is origin main. So this what we have. So let's modulate the situation with the git conflict. Let me clear it. So how I will do that? So I will modulate the situation. So first of all, I will check whether I'm on main. So I am on main. I will create the new branch. So I am like branch 1 git checkout. No, we will do git branch, as I don't need to check out, I just need to create it. So git branch 1, and then we will do git branch 2. So this is the two branches, the different people working on them, just for example. So let's check out to our branch 1. We are currently here, and let's do some changes in our project. So let's just write here, something int hello you, for example. And then we will add something more, which is some functions. So for example, def divide, we will a and b, and we will c equals a divide to b, and we will divide to b, sorry, and we will return c. Yes, so I made the change on this branch 1, and I will now commit this change and merge it with our branch, is with our main. So let's just do it. Git commit minus a minus m fixed hello world, as we did the changes there, and also the other added divide function like that. So we will check git log. We will see that we have our commit here, and then what we will do, we will switch to main, and we will merge these changes. So git merge branch 1. So you see, we merge these changes, and now we will check git log. You see that this fixed is here on the main, but let's go to work on the git branch 2. So git switch branch 2, and let's run git log. You see that there is no changes. The changes is not here, so you don't see them. So if we will open the pie chart, you will also not see them. So for example, you wanted to, instead of hello, write hi. It was your task, and that's all. So you made your work. What you need to do, commit them. So git commit minus a minus m, changed hello to hi. So we committed, and then you want to merge these changes with the main. So you go to your main. So git switch main. Let's just try to merge our changes. So how would you do that? So for example, you will just use git pull and pull the changes that your friend did. So it's already up to date. And then you will do the merge. So git merge branch 2. So you want to merge branch 2 to your main. Let's just do it. And you see that we cannot merge it because there is the merge conflict in the new feature. So what we need to do, we need to resolve this conflict and then merge it again. So git pause the process until we will resolve this conflict. So how to resolve it? So git showing you where is the conflict using these explanations. So you see that this part is how it's in the main currently, and this part is how it's in your branch. So this is where are the conflicts. So this function is fine, so no conflict here, but we need to choose whether this variant or this variant is proper. So you know that your variant is final, so you needed to change it. It was your task, so you just add it here, remove this part, everything here, and you now have the final version how it's supposed to be on the main. So how to merge it after that? So you resolved all the conflicts, you made the final version. After that, you just need to commit add a stage and commit the changes again. I will use the git commit -a commands, so this command will stage and commit at the same time, as you remember we discussed before. And -m, I will write merged branch 2. Then let's, as you see now, it's successfully merged, as all the conflicts are resolved. So let's just check log and see what we have. So you see in the logs that we have the like everything that we worked on the branch 1, this what we work on the branch 2, and the separate commit for our resolving our conflict for our merge. So this is how to merge. Let's just push our changes as the final thing. So git push, and we will check that we have everything in our remote. So we have the new feature and we have everything that you worked on here. So this is basic things that you need to know to work with the Git. I will in the description below I will leave the links. I will leave the file with all of the comments that we used, so you would be able to check them and to see what they're doing and etc. If you would have any questions, leave them in the comment. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you want to follow more videos about Git and other technologies, you can subscribe to my channel. So thank you, enjoy, good luck with your learning, and remember that knowledge is our superpower.